Bom dia. Coming to you from Evora, which is the capital of the Alentejo region in Portugal. It's a medieval city. I've come here to have a little bit of a look around and see some of the old buildings, the Temple of Bones and the Temple of Diana here. So I'm looking forward to doing that today. I got a few questions about the video from yesterday. A few people were asking me, how do I know if I'm actually ready or not? Look, the course on breaking the trauma bond is for people who've come out of a romantic relationship predominantly in adulthood, and that they're out of it. If you choose to try to use the course whilst in a relationship to get out of it, I can't guarantee what kind of results you're going to get, because the whole emphasis of the course is really dialed in, and it's really, really focused on helping people after they've come out. When you're in a relationship, especially if there are elements of emotional abuse, you'll notice how far I'm going at the moment. It's 2019 to not say the N word, to not use that word, to not, emotional terrorists. So if there's any emotional abuse involved, it's different, because you're being re-triggered, and you then have to fight the fact that you're being triggered as you're seeking to recover. And then your recovery process is going to get messed up, and you're going to start thinking, well, this course doesn't work, and you may even start to develop triggers to the exercise on it. It's less than ideal, unless you are just physically stuck with them, but emotionally you're over it, in which case, maybe. So people have been sending me questions like, oh, I'm married, we share custody, we don't live together, oh, I still see my girlfriend at work, but we don't, what's the thing? And I would say this: look, don't hand over your capacity to think to me. I'm not a guru, and I don't fucking know. I don't always wear the right socks. My socks are odd today because I packed in the dark at 5:30 in the morning before the flight. I have odd socks on, so I can't tell. Why would you take life advice from a guy with odd socks on? You've got to figure this stuff out for yourself. I know it's really, really tempting to sort of go, okay, hand it over to the perceived expert, hand it over to the perceived guru, but there's only really people. They might represent good ideas, they might represent good philosophies or good systems of psychology or whatever it is, but they're still just humans. So really, it's more important that you develop that critical faculty for yourself to make your own decisions and say, okay, let's be philosophical now. Am I in this relationship or not? If you're seeing a goal and you don't know whether you're actually split up or not, that's a problem to be dealt with before you start thinking about doing online courses about it. I would look at that first and be like, well, I don't even know what I'm in. Can you go and talk to your dad about it? Can you go and talk to your mates about it? Can you go and talk to your mum about it? And just say, can I get some feedback here? Am I in this relationship or not? Should I consider myself broken up or not? A lot of us live, especially in the realm of romantic relationships, sexual relationships, intimate relationships, with really blurred boundaries. And this is the other reason you shouldn't take advice from me like I'm some sort of a guru. I'm as guilty as anybody of that. My last 2 relationships were a shit show of blurred boundaries, which is one of the many reasons why I just choose to stay single, because that's the boundaries are super clear. It's just me. So you need to sort that out for yourself, rather than asking me, or rather than asking Terry or Steve. Am I out of this relationship? Do I want to be out of this relationship? Because look, if we get you on the course, and actually you're only half-heartedly in it because half of you really wants to get back with that person, you're going to get shit results. And that's okay, that's your choice. It's your money. It's your time. You might have loads of money, you might have loads of time, you might just be curious and have a dabble, but it gets on my nerves because it's against my principles. I know Terry and Steve don't like it. We like to get really, really good results for people. It's professional pride to get amazing results for people, where we're getting a lot of really, really strong feedback from people saying, my God, you changed my life, this was wonderful, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want people coming along who are just I'm sort of in a the sense I'm getting from some people is they're in like a power struggle with their partner, and they're thinking that maybe this course would give them the upper hand, this course is not for you. Go and read The Sicilian by Mario Puzo, and maybe read The Island by Aldous Huxley. And I'm halfway through a good book at the moment called Steppenwolf by Hermann Hesse. Read those books and that'll help, but this course won't. So save your money and just go read some books instead. So there's that I wanted to cover. The other thing is, and I'm going to cover this in a separate video, people have been asking about family relations, and I mentioned family relations in the course briefly. And I said in the live yesterday, hey, maybe I could add a chapter and we could adapt it. We can't. The core structure of this course, the way that I set it out, the way that I whiteboarded it, I filled like 10 whiteboards and photographed them over 4 months with ideas for this course. And what's written into the code, the software code at the deepest levels that we now can't change, is its romantic relationships. There are issues around consent and choice and free will that occur when we are talking about partner selection in adulthood that just aren't there in when you're a child and you're born to parents. Like, you don't choose that. Another little point before I wrap this that I would like to say is don't get confused between trauma bonding and biological bonding. Like, your parents have a hold over you because they made you inside of their bodies. So, like, there's biological bonding and then there's cultural bonding. Thou shalt honour thy father and mother. It's right there in the Abrahamic laws. That's different to trauma bonding. Remember what trauma bonding is, because I've had questions about people talking about like their dog being trauma bonded to a thing and the neighbours are trauma bonded. And I'm like, what the fuck? Trauma bonding is a term from cult psychology that I got from studying the works of counselors working in America and Canada to get people out of cults, because it's a big problem in America and Canada. People end up stuck in cults, and helping them to recover from that. And I think love bombing is also first was a cult, a term from the counselors of cult recovery, love bombing, and so is trauma bonding. Trauma bonding in a cult is where the guru, the leader, or the person who recruited you hurts you and pleases you, nocebo and placebo in one, to give you, to keep you emotionally dysregulated, to keep you confused. They are both savior and demon. They're angel and demon in one. So they're the person who locks you in the cupboard to punish you, and they're the ones who come and rescue you from the cupboard and feed you several hours later. That's trauma bonding. That person then has an undue level of power over you. So don't get confused in this term, trauma bonding. It is for people who, this course is for people who recognize that in their romantic relationships, their ex-girlfriend, their ex-boyfriend, their ex-wife, their ex-husband has an undue amount of power over them. Heartache is traumatic. Relationships are traumatic. Love is trauma. Love is pain. I know that because I see it on tattoos on people. So, and that becomes bonding. That becomes a source of obsession. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a situation where it's gone on for too long. Like you're now 3 years later and you're still obsessed over this person. Okay, that's trauma bonding. You find that everybody else in your life you can say no to, but there's this one person in your life you just physically don't have the ability to say no to. Okay, that's weird. That's trauma bonding. If you're not sure, again, do your own research. Talk to people. Talk online. Chat to your mates and go, it's really weird. She still has this power over me. Do you think that's normal? Do you think that's weird? And if your mates are going, no, that's not normal, that's weird, then start to think. Develop your capacity to think critically, to think philosophically, and trust yourself. Trust your own judgment. Trust your intuitive sense of what's right and wrong. If you really look inside at what trauma bonding is and go, okay, am I just in pain? Am I trauma bonded to my parents, or is this actually just biological bonding? Am I trauma bonded to my ex, or am I just a little bit heartbroken the same way anybody else would be? Does it need to have this particular pathologized semi-psychiatric term or not? Maybe there's nothing neurotic going on here. Maybe this is just completely natural. Think it through. Think it rationally through. Where you have been raised in highly I nearly said it. In highly emotionally abusive family environments that are functioning like cults, like mini cults, then we can talk about trauma bonding to family members and to parents. And for that, I will be developing a new course with Terry and Steve. But you're going to have to be patient. I'm not just rushing one out. I'm not doing it. It takes time. It takes me a long time to sift through the data, to sift through the information, to really... what I like to do is I like to pull the problem out by the weeds, by the very, very roots, and get it all out. And then I like to do something to the earth where they took place so they can never, ever, ever take root there ever again. So that the solutions that we provide are permanent, definitive, and global. Like it impacts the person on every single level. It makes them a better human being. That takes time. I can't just knock out another course inside of 3 or 4 weeks. So I am starting to think in that direction. I'm turning my brain in that direction. I would think, March now there'll be another course particularly for that. Okay guys, I'm about to go do a tour and check out some of these lovely old buildings here. Do you want to have a look? Let me show you Geraldo Square. That's it. All right. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Cheers. This is awkward. I don't have to turn you off. Go on, bugger off. There it is.